One last thing that's quite cool to do in your game is to add animation, and it's quite handy to know how to do for other projects. So I'm going to do a very simple animation in here. I'm going to create a folder first for animations, and I'm going to add in a sprite sheet. That is a good one for animations. Let's see. The one I'm going to take is, let me do fire, that one. Okay, this one here, which has got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 columns and 1, 2, 3, 4 rows. Okay, this is what's called a sprite sheet, and I'm going to drag that from there into my animations folder. I go in there, I've got that now. Now, I'm going to take this sprite sheet and I want to chop it up. So I go to sprite editor. Before I do that, sorry, change it from sprite mode single to sprite mode multiple. Click on sprite editor, click on apply, and it should bring up something like this. Because it's evenly spaced out, we're then going to change it to grid by cell count. And we said there was 5 columns, that's what the C means, and 4 rows. So grid by cell count, 5 columns, 4 rows, and slice it up. It's sometimes hard to see it, but you may be able to see there that it is now sliced up. Once you do that, you can hit apply. You can close this window here by hitting the cross. And if it's worked correctly, if you hit this wee play button or triangle button here, it should open up to all the separate frames. If you see some chopped in two, then you know you've done it wrong. Okay, to get it into your actual game now, all you have to do is drag it into the scene. Okay, so let's do that. Let's drag it into the scene, and I'm going to call it whatever you want. I'm going to call it fire animation. I'll hit save, and if you hit play now, you should have an animation. There we go. And you'll notice it keeps repeating, which we probably don't want. So also I'm going to put the ordering layer to 1 or 2 so that it's in front of the background, just in case that causes us problems later. Right, now to make it work, what we want to do is click on this here. It's this one. Yeah, this one here. So you click on the one, you'll notice in the animation folder there's 2 other boxes that appeared. If you click on the one that's got the kind of play button on it, you should see where it says loop time and it's ticked. If you untick that and run your game again, it should only play once. Okay. But the other thing we can do is change the time that it plays. Okay, and for that one it is this one here with the kind of diagram, the thing that looks like a diagram. If you double click on that, it should bring up the state diagram here, and if you click on the main orange one, it should give you this thing which is speed. So we can change the speed, and let's make it a bit faster, so let's say 1.5 instead of 2. And I shouldn't have done that while the game's playing, but I think it's held actually. Let's just see. Loop time is off, and yeah, 1.5. So let's hit that, and it should play once, and it should play a bit quicker now. Yeah, that's good. So you can play about that speed, make it whatever you want. That's the animation actually in, but we're going to make a script on it, and the script is just to destroy it once it's played once, which probably should be easier than it is actually, but it's not too hard. So if I click on the fire, in the hierarchy view, if I single click onto the fire object and then add a script called whatever you want, I'm going to call it check animation, and it's really just going to be a script that is going to check for how long the animation has played for, and once it's done playing, destroy it. So I'll move that script into scripts, open that up, and one way to do this would just be to make a simple timer and just destroy it after so many seconds if you know how long it's going to be on screen. There is a slightly more accurate way to do it, which I'm going to do, because you can usually get the length of the animation from itself. So wait for Visual Studio to do its thing. Come on, Visual Studio, you can do it. Right, we are going to add in private animator. Animation, we'll just call it ANIM for animation. Right, and in the start method we're going to get the animation, because this is attached to an animation. So we're going to get what's called the animator. And then this big line is basically saying if the animation has finished playing, destroy it. But unfortunately the line is rather long, so it's get current animator state info 0. Right, I think that's just assuming there's only one animation, and then length. Right, the length should be how long it plays for, or how long it lasts. And then animation get current animator state info again, and 0, but this time it is normalized time, which is how long it's been playing for. And you notice I put a less than, so what that means is if the length of the animation is less than how long it's been playing for, in other words, the time it's been playing for is greater than the length of it, which means it's finished playing, we can destroy it. So we destroy the game object. You can say if you want, you could say this game object if it helps you and makes more sense to you, but either way is fine. Save that. And let's run that. Now, you might not even notice any difference, but if you watch the hierarchy view, hopefully after it's played once, it will disappear from here. And there it goes. Right, so that's pretty accurate. You'll notice pretty much as soon as it finishes playing, it disappears from here. The reason for that is that if you have tons of lots of different animations going off, you don't want them all coming up in the hierarchy and staying there. Right, so we now have an animation that plays itself and disappears when it's done. Another cool thing to do on this is to actually give it a sound. Right, so what we can do is go to audio source, go to add component, add an audio source, go to sounds, find explosion and add it on, and make sure play on awake is ticked. And then when it plays the animation, not only does it make an explosion animation, it makes a sound. Try that again. Okay, so that's pretty good. We can now make that into a prefab. So I'm going to drag it from up here into the prefabs folder, and then I can delete it off the scene. And then finally, to add it into our actual game, what we're going to do is go to scripts, go to move character. Somewhere at the top, if you add in public transform explosion, I'm going to call it, which will let us just pass something in, pass an object in, and then in the on collision, somewhere in there, we're going to use the command use the same command we used to spawn the bullet, which is instantiate, and we're going to instantiate the explosion. We're going to do it at the point where it connects with each other. So see how we've got, there's different ways to do it, but what you can do is if you say collision, which is this here, right? Okay, so it's the thing that the character has collided with. We can say contacts, this is just to get it at the point where it hits 0.x, and then collision again, sorry, contacts 0.y, I'm just going to put 0 for the Z. And I think you need to put this rotation thing in, which we're not doing anything with. Okay, but the main bit there is that and that, which is the point where it, well, it's actually the first point where it connects. This contacts thing is actually a list, so it could be that there's 20 points of contact between the two objects and they're all in there. 0 is just the first point, so if there's been a collision there will be at least 1 point of contact, which is why I'm doing 0 there. So this is going to spawn the explosion at the point of contact. If I save that, if I go back into Unity, click on to my hero, if it will let me, and where it says explosion none, go to my prefabs, get my explosion prefab, fire prefab, go to the goblin, do the same for that, and if we run the game now, remove the character and shoot, and we have an explosion. How cool is that? There we go. Game over.